Okay, so again, we're kind of skipping around here just because this lesson takes a little bit longer. I mean, there's not many slides, but it's just a little bit harder, and so I wanted to give more time for practice with it. Talking about, again, a stock split. So I previewed this back when we talked about our pizza analogy about the stock market, right? Again, a company does not get to choose the size of their pizza. A company doesn't get to say, this is how much my company is worth. The market decides that, yeah? What they do get to decide is how many slices they have. They can cut their company into more slices, and they can do this basically whenever they want. Again, this constitutes of a split. They can do the paperwork for it, cut their company into as many slices as they want. Remember that, again, they can also do what's called a reverse split, where if you can imagine a pizza sliced up, and then they just like staple pieces back together, or like pinch the dough back together. Yeah, so it's a reverse split creates less slices. A traditional split creates more slices. So let's go ahead and read this and see how we can apply this. So on December 4th, John Deere Corporation instituted a 2-for-1 stock split. Before the split, the market share price was $87.68 per share, and the corporation had 1.2 billion shares outstanding. So let's talk about some key terms here. I want to make sure what vocab I'm going over with you guys. So 1.2 billion shares outstanding, that means the total number of shares. So that is all of the slices of their company. They have 1.2 billion slices of their company. Yes, it's a lot of slices, yeah? Now, they are going to institute a split, which again is either going to create more slices or fewer slices. Now, it says 2-for-1. Now, this is, you've seen this at the store probably, right? This is 2-for-1 means you get 2 for the price of 1. So this is going to create more stocks because for every 1 stock, now there will be 2. So again, it's like going to Costco and they say, oh, here's your 1 slice of pizza, but it's actually 2 slices. Yeah, that's what's going to happen here. Let's go ahead and look at these questions. What was the pre-split market cap for John Deere? So market cap, is this on your formula sheet? Ooh, it is not. Nope. Okay, so you gotta know what market cap is. Again, we're gonna talk about this in the key terms, or we did talk about it. I'm thinking in the future, yeah. Market cap is market capitalization. That's kind of the value of all of the shares of a company. So we have 1.2 billion shares, and they cost $87.68 per share. So market cap is doing that. The price times the number of shares. This is going to find the total value of the company, or at least I should say the total value of the shares of a company. It's technically not the total value of a company, but it's part of it. So the price is $87.68. Now, 1.2 billion is a very large number. It has a lot of zeros. Here's what you're going to do. Now, I worked it in where if you're not paying attention or you're not listening to me right now, if you put all of these zeros, as long as you do it correctly, I'll give you the point in Canvas. But I'll also give you the point if you do this. Rather than adding all of the zeros for billion, we can just go times 1.2. I'll tack the word billion on there. But in the calculator, I'm going to go 87.68 per share times 1.2. What this means is because I left it as 1.2 and 1.2 represents billions, my answer is also going to be billions. So I get 105.216 billion. So into Canvas, this is the answer I would put, but it's not $105. It's 105.216 billion. So you can leave it like that in Canvas rather than having to add all the zeros. If you're, I made this too big. I didn't mean to do that at all. There we go. If you're curious, this is what it looks like. 105.216 means that's actually 216 million. That's 105 million. There's 105 billion. So that's actually what this number is. 105 billion $216 million. So if you were to type that into Canvas, again, I made it so it would mark you correct, but very few people I know are going to add the correct number of zeros. So in Canvas, you would put 105.216. Don't abbreviate it because like I showed you, that 216 actually means 216 million. So we'll leave it like that. We're not going to round it. Okay, so this is the total market capitalization of the company before the split happened. I kind of skipped over that, but it said pre-split, so I wasn't worried yet about this 2-for-1. So let's go ahead and talk about post-split. So this now means after the split has happened, has been instituted, what is the price per share? Because again, what's going to happen is for every 1 share, now there is 2. That's going to affect the price because I'm basically going to, and I'm kind of giving a hint here, cut my price in half. If I have 1 slice and I cut it into 2, now each of these slices is worth half the price. So this is once again on our formula sheet. Read very carefully, guys. People get these mixed up all the time. It says price per share. We wrote this down, but price per share, post-split share price right there, is B over A times the pre-split share price. So the only difference between these two is the A over B versus the B over A. So once again, I pointed this out when we did the key terms, but A for B is in the question. So here's how we know what the A and the B are going to be. A is the first number, B is the second number. So coming back here, that's right here. This is A for B. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy my formula for this so I don't get jumbled up. Again, you guys write stuff down. Please write stuff down. You're going to get jumbled up, especially with this lesson, if you don't write stuff down. So post-split price per share is the same thing, once again, as post-split share price. So here's my formula. B over A times the pre-split share price. B over A times the pre-split, so this is before the split happens, share price. So let's just plug in here. B over A is what I want. Here's A, here's B. So what is B over A going to become? 1/2. B is 1, A is 2, and we need B over A, so 1/2. Now, I already said this, right? Because again, 2-for-1 means every 1 slice is cut in half. That creates 2 new slices, so we have more slices, but the price is going to go down because now, again, yes, you've got a smaller slice. So we're also going to multiply with the pre-split share price. So read the question. What was the price before the split? 8 to 768. We just got to read. Sometimes if I just throw all the information at you guys, you don't have a chance to think. So I just wanted to give you a chance to think. So 1/2 times 8 to 768. Let's get this. Okay, so the new price per share is going to be $43.84. Again, because a 2-for-1 split means we're taking 1 slice and dividing it into 2, that means the price is going to be cut in half because we are making smaller slices. Now, what happens, though, with the number of shares is the opposite. Notice that the number of shares formula is A over B. So I'm going to copy that. Times the pre-split number of shares. So once again, what happened with the price is because I took 1 slice and created 2, the price got cut in half because the slices got smaller, by half actually, yeah. However, now when I look at the number of slices that I have 2 slices now when I had 1. So this is going to increase the number of slices. There's this inverse relationship going on between the price and the number of shares. So if the formula here is A over B, we're going to flip the fraction now for the number of shares. So this is now 2 over 1, right? A is 2, B is 1. Times, what does it say was once again the number of shares this company had? 1.2 billion. again, we're going to multiply by 1.2. We're not going to add all the zeros. And then we're going to say our answer is in billions. In Canvas, though, you would just leave the word billion off and just put the number in. So 2 divided by 1 is just 2. Times 1.2, again, billion. This is 2.4 billion. Now, this is not money. This is a number of shares, so I'm not going to put the dollar sign. What I would put into Canvas would be 2.4 with the understanding that it really means 2.4 billion. Like I said, though, if you forget that, as long as you add the correct number of zeros, I'm giving you the point. It's just that I don't want you to risk that because most people aren't consistent with adding the correct number of zeros. So, once again, we have this inverse relationship happening. We take a slice of pizza, we cut it into half. The price is going to go down because the pieces are smaller, but now I have more pieces, right? So let's look at this last question. What was the post-split market cap? So back to market cap, that was once again up here. It is the price times the number of shares. Now, the point of this question is for you to see something. It says post-split. So what was the post-split price and the post-split number of shares? Right here, yeah, we just found those two things. So post-split, this was the price per share, and post-split, this was the number of shares. So we're going to multiply these now and see what is the market cap after the split happens. And again, the market cap is the total value of all of the shares of the company. So 43.84 per share times 2.4. Again, it means 2.4 billion, but I'm going to plug in the calculator just 2.4. What do we get here? Well, let's see. 43.84 times 2.4 happens to be, hey, this answer looks familiar. Oops. I just turned on Bigsby on my... Yeah, I know, Bigsby, leave me alone. Sorry, I just clicked my phone. Anyways, 105.216 billion. This is the value of all of the shares of the company. And hey, look, that did not change, right? That's the point. Again, a company does not get to decide how much their pizza is worth. If the market said your pizza is worth 105.216 billion, when you institute a split, you're not affecting the total value of the company because, again, because of this inverse relationship, if I divide the price by half but multiply the shares by 2, that kind of cancels out, right? So that is the point. They are affecting how many shares they have and the price, but not the overall value of everything. It's really just perception for why they would do this, or again, to increase the number of shares they can offer so they can get more investors. So that was kind of a lot of talking. When you do these problems, they go faster, but I just wanted to kind of explain. Let's go ahead and try this again. So on October 15th, Palm Incorporated instituted a 1-for-20 reverse stock split. So a reverse stock split is when you have fewer slices. You had a bunch of slices and then you just like pinched the corners together or took a stapler and here's your one slice of pizza. It used to be 2, but I stapled it together and now it's 1 slice. So 1-for-20 means that for every 20, we stapled 20 pieces together and now that's 1 slice. This is again going to create fewer shares. So 1-for-20, once again, which one of these is A and which one of these is B? This is A for B. So let's keep that in mind. A is going to be 1, B is going to be 20. Before the split, the market share price was 64 cents and there were 580 million shares. So I'm going to go ahead and write this as 580 million. We can see all of the zeros here, but I prefer to work with the 580 rather than all those extra zeros. So this is probably why they instituted a reverse stock split. Their share price is really low. These are what are called penny stocks. They're super duper cheap, yeah? And sometimes a company might want to say to themselves, Our stock looks really cheap. Let's do a reverse stock split. So it looks like our price is better, and that perception might help out our company and might get more investors. Because, if something is too cheap, sometimes you're like, why is it so cheap? Something must be wrong with it. Yeah, I'll go with the more expensive one. So they are going to decrease the number of shares, which will increase the price. Again, if one increases, the other has to decrease to keep that balance of the total value being the same. I'm talking a lot. Let's try this question. What was the post-split share price? So look at your formulas. Which one is this? Is this A over B or B over A? Post-split share price is B over A. So B over A times, I'm going to go ahead, I'll just write this whole thing out. Pre-split means before split, share price. So I want you to take a moment and plug in. We want the B over the A times what was the price before the split. Go ahead and try it. Well, B is 20, A is 1. You guys just have to be careful. It's right there, yeah? Times, you're also wanting to be careful that you're not losing focus and being like, oh yeah, here's my information. We need the price. I see sometimes some people accidentally lose focus and get mixed up with everything, and they write the right formula down, and then they accidentally use the number of shares. We're looking for the price. We need to use the price, right? So 0.64. Okay, so again, what we can see is going to happen here is our price is going to increase. It's going to become $12.80. So now their shares look much more expensive. That is a perception thing, right? Now it looks like, hey, this company is $12.80 per share. They're doing a bit better. Maybe I want to get invested in them because it looks like their price went up and it might keep going up. Well, all they did was they decreased the amount of stocks they had, which increased the price. It's just perception. Because we're going to see that here now on the post-split number of shares, which once again, what's that formula? Flip it, right? A over B times the pre-split shares. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and use 580 for 580 million. If you want to use all the zeros, you can. So go ahead and plug this in. And what you're going to see is now, again, since the price increased, the number of shares is going to decrease. Go ahead and plug it in. Well, A over B means I need to flip my fraction. I've got 1 over 20 times 580 million. But I'm just going to go 1 divided by 20 times 580. So I have 29 million. Once again, this is not money. This is shares. So yes, again, the price increased per share, but with that increase came a decrease in the number of shares. Like I said, the reason why companies would do a reverse stock split is typically if they have too many shares lying around that nobody's buying, they'll just decrease the number of shares they have, or to increase the perception that they are not a penny stock, right? Sometimes with penny stocks, again, they're companies that are like, they're small potatoes, they're little companies, like we don't want to invest in them. Now it looks like they're worth more. They're not actually, right? Again, if we were to multiply these two numbers together here, we would get the same thing if we multiplied these two. The value of the pizza did not change. Now the pizza just has fewer slices. You're going to try this one more time, the whole thing through without me, just because I've talked through a lot of this. Now I want you to try both. Read carefully how many shares, how much was the price, use the correct formula. Don't assume it's going to be in the same order. Read, look at the formula, go ahead and give it a shot. Okay, so 4 for 1 is A, 4, B. So A is 4, B is 1. How many shares? I'm going to check my formula sheet. That is A over B. Yes, I know, in the last two problems, it was the B over A formula first. Doesn't matter. We do what it says to do. We don't just assume it's going to be the same every time. Okay, but this is going to be 4 over 1. And I'm going to be careful here. Now, because this is a smaller number, I'm going to go ahead and use 12,800. That is the number of shares. If you wanted to do like 12.8K, you could, but if it's, I'm really, for your homework and for your test, if it's a million or a billion, that's when I'll do that, where I just say, oh, it's this many million or this many billion. If it's 1,000 number, you use the full number. So 4 times 12,800. So this is 51,200. Once again, this is not money. This is shares. So that's how many slices of their company they have. So if I already did A over B, it's going to get flipped for the next one. How much was the price? Again, that's B over A. B over A times the price before. So 1/4 times 30/40. We have 7.6. This is 760. So once again, this is a traditional stock split here, because the price goes down. A traditional stock split creates more shares, which will decrease the price per share. So for them, they might have said, well, we don't have a lot of shares, so we want to create more slices of our company so we can have more investors. Let's do this. Now we can have more investors who can maybe afford us because now our price is cheaper. So again, on your homework, read very carefully. It's very, very, very easy to get stuff jumbled up. Check your fraction is correct. Check you're using the right formula for if they're asking for shares, if they're asking for price. Just read. That's all I can tell you to do.